Catherine, I know you will. Catherine Herridge on that in Washington, D.C.
A follow-up now to a story we told you about here yesterday. A Florida sheriff is on a campaign now to get parents to keep track of what their children are doing, especially when it's online. He's been speaking out about the case of 12-year-old Rebecca Sedgwick, who took her own life after months of relentless bullying. Now, Sheriff Grady Judd, he brought stalking charges against two girls. One is 12, one is 14, and he's also actually weighing charges against one of the girls' parents. During an interview on America's Newsroom yesterday, Sheriff Judd said he just wants their parents to wise up.
Our goal is, let's just get the parents to recognize there's a problem with their daughter. These girls are not charged with the death of this child. They are charged with stalking and tormenting this child. We want to make sure that the juvenile system deals appropriately with these children so that they're not back in the juvenile system, they're not ever charged with a crime again, and they're certainly not bullying any other little girls.
Now, on top of that interview done yesterday, there's a new development in the case. George Zimmerman's former defense attorney, Mark O'Mara, is also getting involved. He's a former prosecutor, and he's working on a law that would hold parents accountable in cyberbullying cases. Dan Schorr joins me now, former prosecutor, and Regina Tambanakis is a criminal defense attorney, and welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Regina, I'm sure a lot of parents are listening right now and saying, what would be our responsibility? One of the girls showed remorse, one didn't. It's unclear whether the parents took any responsibility, but your homeowner's insurance could come into play if something like this happens, right?
Well, that depends. And as far as taking responsibility, what these parents need to do and what the sheriff needs to make sure of is that we take the power away from the bullies, get their audience away, which means all these years, the teachers at the schools should have seen the daily behavior that was going on. They should have seen what was going on. They should have informed the parents. At that point, if the parents don't do anything, they should be liable because they're willfully neglecting it. But we all know teenagers can lie, and even if there's a cyberbullying passed law, they can just be doing it in person. And parents look on the computer and they think everything's great. There's no cyberbullying. So it kind of is a false sense of security there. But if we take away the bullying part, the part that makes kids want to do that, give them self-esteem, and big strong enough to walk away from the bully.
I think every parent tries, Regina, to do that. Of course, you're right. We do our best. Dan, so much of this happens over the internet, though, and a parent tries to monitor that, I'm sure. But is the internet becoming this instrumentality of death, where kids know the more they go on and harass another kid or print pictures of that kid, they're likely, or at least they should or should know, that child may harm themselves?
In many ways, it's much more dangerous than classic bullying because when it's online, the record is there for a long time and more people can see it. So even if the victim moves away, gets away from the tormentors, they can still relive and rewind the words that were said against them, and they know that it's out there and other people can see it, and that's haunting, and that continues to bully people long after the actual words are typed.
That's a good point.
Parents need to watch what their children are doing. Here, the parents of the 14-year-old seem to be in denial, even though the 14-year-old posted on her Facebook account, I bullied her, she died, I don't give a blank. The parents seem to still be in denial in taking any responsibility.
But let me ask you this, Dan, and then Regina, tell me what you think. Maybe it takes, the judge is thinking, or the sheriff rather, that unless I hold the parents responsible, they're not going to keep a closer watch over what their children are doing?
There's two parts to that. One is the public shaming, that now the parents are out there having their kid arrested, and maybe that'll encourage them or other parents to be more involved. There's also the part where the investigators, the sheriff, is looking at the parents and seeing whether they acted in concert. Did they know this was going on and help it in any way or provide access to the internet after they knew their child was committing the stalking?
If they knew.
Right.
You know, this allegedly, Regina, involved 15 girls bullying this one girl. It is hard to believe, I suppose, that nobody knew. But how do you think we get the parents to take responsibility, have remorse, stop their children's behavior? They're teenagers.
I think most parents do care very much about their teenagers' behavior. Some unfortunately may not. You can't teach them anything, because if they're not caring about it at this point, they're not going to care. But we got to focus on the parents that do care. And let's say this: how easy is it for a child to fool their parent by getting another account? So you're looking at one account, they're looking at another account. That's a Band-Aid. Running to legislation, oh, somebody died. Of course it's a tragedy.
Well, what about that?
That's a
There are
Band-Aid.
laws named after children who were bullied or killed or abducted. Should there be a
Against the
law
person
in
who did the
Florida?
crime,
That's
not
what
the
Mark
parents.
O'Mara is working on.
Mark O'Mara doesn't have children last time I looked, so he doesn't understand how tricky this can be. The point is, you have to say, and you have to make it part of everything in the school. Walk away from the bully. The only time they have power is if you listen
Wow.
to them.
I don't know.
And shame them. If we don't do that, and we just start putting people in jail, then we'll have other children in the foster system because their parents are in jail.
All right,
and
I
it's
gotta
very
leave.
easy for a teenager to fool a parent, and it's not right to do that. But it is right for the parent to get involved at the onset
All
and
right.
start teaching this.
Got to leave it there, Regina. Dan, your points were very well taken, too, about how there's a permanent record of things like this. So parents, take note. Bill?
Cost of launching the iPhone, $150 million. Cost of launching the website for Obamacare, $600 million. If Obamacare was a